Makur Maker, 5-star recruit, is committing to an HBCU.
If Makur doesn't do well, it's a disaster.
I was going to the NBA, then COVID happened. That just killed everything. I haven't seen my family since 2016, but this is a sacrifice I'm making to get to the NBA.
Hi, Makur. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I guess like one of the first questions I want to ask is like, there has to be a study on the pandemic and how it, kind of changed the direction of so many students in general, but you could do a microcosm of just like how athletes were ready to go a certain direction. And there's so much time in whether you think about Olympics or whatever, with athletes that in their careers, that how the pandemic changed their career. Can you, how was it like kind of like being flexible and trying to figure out how to like do what your goals were with this big pandemic hitting, the world of basketball?
Like you said, it hit a lot of athletes. I think I've learned how to operate at times of uncertainty. It did happen. It hit me hard. I lost a basketball season, a very important one, actually. But it's just the more thing is I've learned how to adapt to situations that are always kind of sticky or, more so kind of hard. And I feel like in life, you have to face something like that. You got to face some adversity. And it was tough. I would say it was tough, but I handled it pretty well. And I'm just moving on to the next thing now. And it didn't only hit athletes. It hit people lost their homes. People were extremely sick in the hospitals, in comas, and stuff like that, life support, and losing their jobs. So I feel like that's who they hit really first. It really hit those people who lost their jobs and lost loved ones. So that was it.
I feel like there's like always this desire for this connection between African Americans and people of, different African nations, whether it be Sudanese or Nigerians or South Africans or whomever. And I wonder like how going to HBCU did it help like bend this, not that there's this fence, but was there any like understanding that you got more of like African Americans as to different people, what people deal with as Black around the world, as being African descendants around the world? Did you get any particular like insight at a historically Black college and university that you didn't have before?
The HBCUs are rich in history with the African Americans that come through there. I know I learned a lot about that. I've learned who went there and who paved the way for a lot of things that are happening now in the entertainment world, in the politics world, and in just life in general. But besides that, it's relatively the same. Black people, we're all of one. African descents. They all traces back to Africa, and to people to realize that is great.
I feel like on this continent we don't really understand what happened between all the conflict in Sudan, and just as a just as a descendant of Sudanese parents and everything else, and being born there, can you like help make it like fifth grade for us? Like why has there been so much conflict? Can you simplify it, a little bit of the, I'm sure, complicated history of the Sudanese conflict?
Yeah, there's a lot in South Sudan. The conflict is basically over land, over pride, over oil, over money. We have a lot of resources: ivory, gold, silver, things like that. We're a rich country. So, things like that do happen, and it's on us to come together and to collaborate, no matter what, tribe you are, or where you're from, or how you speak, or what color you are. It's on us to come together as a nation and build that, because once we do that, we'll be the leaders of the world. It's just right there. Our oil, is just right there. We're so rich. So it's only a matter of time that happens, and I just wish it does.
How important was it for you to have, a predecessor, your brother Don Maker, like become internet viral, become known as this, athlete that came from abroad and came here and made a big impact and become, like this high draft pick? How important was it for him to like break down those fences or whatever for you to make that dream? Like, because I know it's a lot of people that have so much potential, but it's so hard to reach that potential because a lot of times they don't believe in their own potential. But to see a maker make it, like how important was that for you to believe that, that was something that was attainable for you also?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, Thon did. He did spark that belief in a lot of South Sudanese kids in Australia. When he got drafted, that just it gave him an edge. It made it feel like it is possible. Because most times when people think about that dream going to the NBA, over here for South Sudanese kid is like, okay, I can make it, but they just don't see the route happening or over it coming to life. So when it did happen, it did give a lot of hope, and I've learned a lot of things from his ups and downs, and I've just learned how to adapt to things by the fly. So I have learned a lot from him being in the NBA game and having to stay ready and things like that.
How important was it for the Smith? Is it the Smith family, right? That took you guys in, right? How important was it for them to be like really culturally adept to what was going on in South Sudan and where you guys were coming from, to make you guys feel like, like more than learning the game, somebody that really respected the culture and your history? Like, how important was that for you guys to feel comfortable enough to excel in your lives as athletes and students?
Yeah, you watched the doc, Edward Smith. He moved to Australia real early, and he had a lot of South Sudanese players, so he understood the culture. He's the African descent also, so it's almost similar. We have the same beliefs and the same morals and the same motives, good intentions. So it wasn't really too hard per se. Besides that, I moved to Australia when I was 11 months, so I spent majority of my living there. I only got a chance to visit South Sudan in 2013 for 2 months, and I wish I could visit more longer, but my schedule is just so busy. But besides that, it was free flowing. We never really thought about that. They're good people.
What's there's been like a wave now, especially since Coach Deion Sanders has went to Jacksonville State University. We've seen a lot of football players that could normally commit to Ohio State or Auburn or Georgia, Alabama, commit to like historically Black colleges. I don't know if you know, I'm sure you do, because I'm sure they've told you. I don't know if you went into it really knowing the impact that your decision will make for athletes of the future. But do you think that if more of the athletes that were, highly recruited blue chip athletes decide to attend some of these historically Black colleges, universities, they would bring more, both more attention, television deals, profits to it as a business of sports? Do you think that would be like impactful for more people to follow in your footsteps, to say, I don't just have to go to Kentucky or Duke or UNC. I could go to a Howard or a Southern University or Morehouse or FAMU or whatever, and support some of these schools that have always supported people that look like me through history?
Yeah, I think my thing was athletes realizing that you don't have to go to the schools you mentioned in order to get to where you want to get. If you're good enough and you trust your work, I mentioned like repeatedly in the documentary that, wherever you are, the people that are recruiting or maybe looking at you will make those decisions to have you on a team. a professional team will make that decision if you're good enough. So I think I brought a lot of awareness to the situation. You see what Coach Deion Sanders is doing at Jackson State, which is incredible. He's bringing a lot of awareness to HBCUs, and it's just going on. NBA All Star, the theme is HBCUs. They're showcasing their artist ability and their creative thinking ability. It's just a lot of profit did happen off that commitment, and I'm proud of it, and I wish it's going to continue to go on more. The more people know about HBCUs and what's there.
I guess about as I wrap up, I gotta know. I know you had to shorten that season as a Bison because of that groin injury. But like, how disappointed or how much were you looking forward to being able to be out there for a full season and turn that team? I believe they were like 1-15 before you got there or something like that. And have like a season to turn that around.
Oh man, it was tough because I did get hurt and I was out for 2 weeks with a groin injury, but then 2 weeks later I was cleared to play. I wanted to play because we had a good team. I was confident that we would have won the MEAC and went to the NCAA tournament. That's why I was just so mad that we didn't have a basketball season. Like, I wish we'd have a season and competed all the way through. But it's just one of those things that leaves you speechless. Like, when you hear the news that your season is canceled, it's like, you've been practicing this whole time, putting in work this whole time, and then you can't even get a season. So that was like one of the biggest things I had to just, go over and overcome. It was just real tough.
For your dream and the decisions you made, I'm cheering for you. I mean, I know we could use you out here in LA right now for the Lakers or the Clippers, but wherever you end up landing professionally, whether it's in the NBA or overseas or whatever else, I'm cheering for you as a person, and I appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see you get ahead and do great and big things, man.
Thank you, Jamal, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for the interview.